I'm going to leave a link below, discuss showing you so you can read up a little bit more of what's going on with China. China's raising has just made accusations that it's going to war. Basically, it said the same thing except for, you know, without getting too much in debt, that Paris and France has said. So we already seen this coming because they had a ship dock down there. All right, we already seen this coming because of the fact that way before all this happened with Russia and China coming over to Syria, they was already together plotting and scheming. Putin had went one time and put the fur bear coat over China. When they were at a meeting, walked over to the FEMA and put the coat over. So check this out. With all that being said, we got them over there. When China released that, said we're going to war with the Islamic State, whatever agreement that they got to keep the nation out of it and keep it between themselves, they like to throw hints and subliminal messages. Now, one of the subliminal messages that they threw in there when they said this is they said Islamic State, and they showed a U.S. Army Air Force dude with the mask on and the helmet. The link is down below, and said, hey, we're fighting the Islamic State. Now, after they say that, footage and news is put out and released that the U.S. and the boots on the ground, whatever's going on over there with the retirees coming out of retirement and hitting over there from Iraq, that used to be in Iraq war, they're stating that they're not calling it ISIS. Forget that. We're going to rock out with the Kurds. We're going to do what we got to do. So whatever the U.S. does and its allies and its nations, they changed up the name and called it Daesh, which is, hey, we're fighting Syria. So, like I said, the proxy war went to a push and shove match to okay, now I'm going to get my boys, you go get your boys, this is what's going to happen. Then it's going to turn into, mark my words, okay, something's going to happen at somebody's house or property, so they're going to go back to their property and do something to their house and property. Then it's going to escalate and it's going to keep going. It's just like two little kids. Dead serious. All you got to do is amplify what happens with a little kid. All right, put the nations involved, and then you got the same thing. Everything might be hiding behind technology, a name, or dressed different. But if you look and you see what they have been doing in the past, then you see what is going on now. All right, a psychotic person, people, nation, or group will repeat itself constantly. They might change it up or call it a different rule or a different thing, but it's still the same thing. Why? Because in the end, it still has the same result or the same agenda. Now, we see that we got the ISIS thing. We see that the U.S. and Russia and everybody else is involved. Nobody is still getting it. Not at all. So, Mali, the reason why China is getting involved and we look at Mali is because the people that were killed in Mali, all right, these weren't just regular tourists or Asian Chinese citizens. These were business citizens, railroad executives. They killed off businessmen. So apparently, this so-called Islamic State that China is saying is America, and then they got the picture showing America, the CIA or whoever then ran up in there and killed the business people. So whatever is going on, we know that this has to do with money. Yeshua said, watch out, it has to do with money, riches, and the greedy people, and then this is how it's going to happen. He gives you the whole blueprint. Why? Because the blueprint was the same thing with the Egyptians, with the pharaohs, with Caesar. It was always about money, tax, and controlling the king and the kings and queens in Britain. It was always about taxing, controlling, and manipulating the masses. So this has to do with the business. The business people run the armies and in the world, in the banks. So now that these businessmen, executives, all this stuff that got killed in Mali, hey, you see what's going on. So it's like you being a rich person in the neighborhood. You pay people off to do something, third, you get away with anything you want to. Why? Because you paying people. You're giving them the illusion and perception that your money will give them the greatest happiness in life if they look the other way. Remember, etymology, perception, illusion, all of it plays a role in what's going on. With that, I hope you really look at what's going on, pay attention a little bit more in the world with China, with Russia, what's going on with America and its moves that it's making, what the agenda is. Look at the food that we're eating, the separation with the TTP, how more corporations like it even more because if they can make something in a lab and grow something, which goes back to the dinosaurs and what Satan and the fallen ones did by mixing DNA. God hates that. You're taking his creation and you're perversing it. Once you start cloning and doing stuff like KFC with the chickens and the three-legged chickens and the ball-headed chickens and all this other stuff, once you start doing something to God's creation, you are that he's up there upset. If somebody took your baby and you, matter of fact, if you took your baby and you put it in a doctor, okay, and your baby came out, the baby that you created, your flesh and blood that you created came out with 3 legs, and then another specialist or person put 2 heads on your baby, or did all this stuff to your baby that you love so much, how would you feel? If you went and you bought a car and you loaned it to a friend, and your friend went and painted it a bright orange color, did a whole bunch of stuff to it that you didn't want it to, that was your car, how would you feel? They destroyed your car and made it into something that they wanted to, and it didn't belong to them. How would you like it if you went and you paid for your phone, your computer, and somebody took it and did whatever they pleased with it and never returned it to you and made it theirs? All right, that would make you upset. All you have to do is take the small things and say, how would God feel if I went and recreated something to my fashion that he made for me? You know, that's beautiful already. That's, I mean, seriously, that's a sin. So, like in the times of Noah, we have right now, but nobody's seeing it, doing the comparison. Why? Because the overly spiritual people are looking for this, that, and the third, not realizing that some of the small things are those big things you're looking for, but it bypassed you. Some of the people that don't believe, all right, are not even, I mean, are just looking for the normal things and thirds should probably raise a little bit higher because you're not thinking nothing of it and thinking it doesn't mean anything when actually it does. So sort of we have 2 sides. We have a bunch of people that are off base and not in touch and seeing what's going on.